Give them a whiz around. Can you see us? Well, that was the Lord Stones, the prehistoric stone circle, which is just off the Cleveland Way at Lord Stones Country Park, I think it's called. Anyway, it's a Sunday afternoon. Time is it? About 2:45. Sunset's just after 4. And it's not quite an impromptu camp. I've been humming and hawing all weekend, but I thought, oh, to hell with it. And I'm going up onto the North Yorkshire Moors, just off the Cleveland Way, and we're going to do a wild camp on Cringle Moor. So anyway, I'll bring you back once I'm up there, because although you've got well over an hour before sunset, I don't want to be faffing about, but only a very short walk. Right. Well, I've done the bulk of the climbing. Like I said, it was a very, very short walk from the car. It's more about the camp than the hike, this video. So it's I've been going 23 minutes and we've done 0.8 mile. And you can see where the patch of light is just above there. Is pretty much where my car's parked. So I'll come along and up this climb, get to this sort of observation point, and then we're going to go along the ridge to about there-ish, and that's Cringle Moor. So like I said, like a 1.5 mile walk, if that. So nice quick one. Right, anyway, let's get along and see what the pictures is like. There are some shelves. My dad's camped there, and Andy Beavers and a few other lads on YouTube, so I've done my research. There's plenty of shelves, so I shouldn't have too much trouble finding a pitch, as long as anyone else has had the same idea. But we'll see what happens. This is the spot, very easy to find. It's just off the Cleveland Way. It looks well used. As you can hear though, it's pretty windy, and it's a northwesterly, so that's the north, that's northwest, so the wind's going to be hitting us directly. But I knew that, to be honest, when I picked the location. So I'll just make sure that the back point of me Trailstar is pointing into the wind, and I'm gonna pitch here, I think. So yes, I'm gonna get the tent up. It's not darkened for another hour really, but and there's 1 or 2 people still on the trail, but it's too cold to stand, so I'm going to just get the tent pitched. Well, as you can see, I'm right on the edge. But that seems to be the best place to avoid the wind, and it's the flat bit. It's nice and flat in there, so I'm going to get in and unpack all my gear. See, it's pretty windy, so I think the forecasts of 20 mile an hour winds and gusting to 30 seem pretty accurate. But the Trailstar should be more than enough. We're capable of shedding that wind, no problem off the back. Right, anyway, I'm going to get in the tent, get myself turned round. Right, well, I'm in the tent, and you can see I've got my Trailstar ground sheet in there, and although it's blowing a gale outside, it's lovely and sheltered in here. So still got a bit of daylight, good half an hour, so I'm going to get my beds all set up, then get the kitchen set up, Right, well, as you can see, bed's all done. Got all my cooking stuff out. It's still very windy outside, but I think there might have been a lull. It just seems to have eased off slightly. Wasn't much, although it's been clear skies, there wasn't really any sunset to speak of, but I did a bit of filming outside the tent just to give you an idea of the conditions. Right, so tonight I'm going to cook a Delia Smith classic of, well, she called it designer beef in beer. And when I do this at home, I do it with like little croutons and French bread with Gruyere cheese, but well, I can't do that in the tent, so I'm going to do dumplings. So it's going to be beef in beer dumplings. Something my mum used to make, so I've got my mum for this one, Liz. Right, so once I'm ready to start cooking, I'll bring you back, show you the ingredients, and I'll take you through it step by step. Right, so I've just lit the Trangia, and we'll go through the ingredients for tonight's Trangia masterclass. So we've got one red onion, one carrot, and a small piece of leek, and that's for the mirepoix basically. Just adds a bit of flavour to the gravy. Then once those are softened, then I'm going to cut up a steak and then put that in. Normally you'd use like a slow cooked piece of beef like Shane or braised steak or anything, but I'm not going to cook it for as long as you normally would at home, so I'm using steak. It's a bit of a travesty really, you shouldn't use such nice meat for this. Then we're going to add a little bit of plain flour, maybe like 2 teaspoons of plain flour and 1 teaspoon of mustard powder and some black pepper. That'll thicken up the sauce. Then we've got a Knorr beef stock pot, and then some beer. Doesn't really matter what beer, to be honest, but I think like bitter tends to lend itself a bit better to this sort of stuff than lager. Then once all that's been cooking for a good, say, half an hour, I'm going to then make dumplings. So you would normally do this, well, I do it at home as per Delia's instructions. I would normally do it with like French bread made into croutons with some Gruyere on top. It's really nice, but it's hard to get them crispy. You kind of get them crispy here, so I'm going to do some dumplings, and then a bit of thyme to add a bit of flavour to it as well. And that's it. So I'll prep the veg, and then I'll show you as I'm doing it. Right, so I've prepped the veg as you've just seen. So I've got, like I said, 1 red onion, 1 carrot, small piece of celery. They don't have to be finely chopped, but I tend to finely chop the celery because I'm not that keen on knowing that celery's in food, because it's not my favourite ingredient. But it's important. We're sticking to the French classical cooking, so that's known as a mirepoix, so don't miss it out. Right, okay, so I'm going to soften those now. So let's get the pan on. Get some oil in the pan. And then we'll put the vegetables in with a little bit of grass probably. Right, so we'll put the lid on and let that come up to temperature, and we'll give them a really good cook. So really I want to cook the onions out because I don't like raw onions, as you know. It's only 5:25, but I thought I'd get started early because I want to be eaten and washed up in time for Vera. She starts at 8 o'clock and I'll be able to watch that on the ITV app. Nice. Right, anyway, I'll bring you back when it's we get into the next stage. Right, well those vegetables look nice and soft, so we'll take the lid off, give them a whiz around. Can you see us? Yeah, right. So now I'm going to put this steak in, and it's a ribeye steak which we were meant to have last night. So it's a travesty putting it in here, but I've chopped it up, and let's get this meat in here. So we'll get that meat sealed. Right, so I'll put the lid back on, we'll let that meat seal, and then we'll put some seasoned flour. So like I said, it's just plain flour, maybe 2 teaspoons with a teaspoon of mustard powder, some black pepper. And then when I've cooked that out, which won't take long, some beef, one of those Knorr beef stock pots. That's where all the seasoning will come from, i.e. the salt. I'm not going to put salt in separately. Right, so that meat's nice and sealed. Vegetables are soft, so now we'll season it with some flour, and so that'll thicken up the sauce. Let's cook that flour out. Now I think we'll put the fresh thyme in. I can't see outside, but I've got a feeling it's snowing. It's the odd flake keeps flying in. But anyway, we'll have to get on with this. So I'll put that fresh thyme in. It smells amazing. And then the stock. These gels are the magic, really, you know. Much better than using cubes. So yeah, so this is the beer I'm going to put in. It's a Brewdog Shore Amber Ale, Shore Leave it's called. It's like a traditional looking beer, but not the normal sort of Brewdog style. Let's get that in. I need to leave a little bit of room in the pan for the dumplings to rise. But it's only me tonight, so I don't need to cook quite as much as I normally do when my dad's here. So I don't drink, so that's wasted now. My dad will be gutted that I'm throwing away a good beer. So now that just needs to simmer for, well, a good 20 to 30 minutes. Right, so the beef and beer's had about 20 minutes. It's looking really nice. The gravy's nice and thick. So what I'm going to do now is put the dumplings on. So the dumpling mix I've made here is about 100 grams of self-raising flour, 50 grams of suet, good pinch of salt, some black pepper. With things like dumplings and scones and crumble mix, you always do half fat to flour. So I'm going to put some water in. I've got rubber gloves on so I don't get my hands all mangy. And then I'm just going to sit the dumplings on top with the lid on, and we leave it then for at least 25 minutes. I've just refilled the fuel in the Trangia so we won't get interrupted. Right, let's get on with it. Right, that's the dumplings in. It's a messy business making dumplings, so you've got to be organised. Zip up bag, rubber gloves. Don't put too much water in, otherwise you'll end up with a load of glue. Right, we'll put the lid back on and we'll bring it back in, I'd say, we'll have a look at it in about 25 minutes. Right, so I've took the lid off and I've just checked the dumplings and they're done now. Now, obviously, when I do this at home, if I use dumplings on the top of a casserole, I tend to do them in the oven with the lid off so that the dumplings get crispy, but obviously you can't do that here because I'm just steaming the dumplings. So anyway, that's it. They're done. So I'll get myself turned round and then we'll do a taste test, eh? Right, so the moment of truth. Let's give it a go. So I have a bit of dumpling. Oh yes, magnets. I quite like the dumplings when they're not crispy, when they're just being steamed. That's amazing. Perfect to do at home if you can't be arsed coming wild camping. Right, I'm all settled down, washed up, and now I'm going to watch Vera. I'm not watching my shoe. My phone's propped up against my shoe. So I've been outside, took some photos. It's freezing cold, but it was forecast to be -2, wind chill of about -7 to 9, and it is like that. I had my gloves off for a while, but to be honest, my hands are in pain. So like I said, took a bit of video, a few photos. Back in the tent, gonna watch Vera now. I'll come back to you when maybe it's time for sleep. Right. Right, well, we managed to watch Vera without too much interruption. The internet connection up here isn't too bad. I'm going to settle down now and I'm going to try and get to sleep a bit early because I don't want to be here too late in the morning. So anyway, really enjoyed that meal, really nice, and I haven't even been hungry enough to eat me pork scratchings dessert. So anyway, I'll wish you all a night, God bless, and I'll see you in the morning. Night night. Well, morning. Well, that was a windy night, as you can hear. Cold and windy. There's a bit of frost on the inside of the tent. But I'm nice and dry and warm. I slept on and off as normal. I've got the kettle on and we'll make some porridge. Right, that's the porridge done. So I'm going to enjoy this. I'll take it off the heat. Put the kettle back on. Well, as you can see, it's windy out here. But the shelter's stood up perfect. See, the sun's just coming up over the hill here, but it's not up for another sort of 10 minutes or so. So I'm going to start getting packed down and then I'm going to make my way home. Right, let's get on with it. Right, well, all packed up, ready to go, as you've seen. No trace left. Right, I hope you've enjoyed that. I have. I nearly didn't do it. I'm so pleased I did. But yeah, great one. That was Cringle Moor. So thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, please leave them. I love answering them. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next camp. Right, cheers.